Hello, welcome to Star Wars Spelt Out. I'm your host, Josh Chapman, and today, special anniversary commentary track. People keep saying, hey, wait a minute, Empire Strikes Back's 40th anniversary was months ago or weeks ago, you idiots. What are you doing? It's like, hey. Not in Australia, mate. Not in Australia. We had the little delay. So this is going to be bang on time. And who better to go through Empire Strikes Back with than my good buddy, my co-host from Pepper Pod, frequent host on this guest host on this one, Matt Frost. How you go, mate?
Hi Josh, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. I completely fluffed that intro, but whatever. It's a commentary track. It goes for 2 hours. You're not going to get perfection all the way through.
That's right. And look, concerning Star Wars guests, I am sort of the bottom of the barrel. So, let's...
Who was free during the day? But it is a long film, Empire Strikes Back. So we're going to get cracking into it. So this is the Blu-ray. If you've got the Blu-ray version, I think the Disney Plus version is exactly the same. So it is the special edition. Matt, how are you there on the trigger finger? Are you ready to roll on this bad boy?
Yep, I'm sure the computer will do its part.
Well, you'll know if it doesn't. So we're going to do a 1, 2, 3, like Lethal Weapon. We'll go 1, 2, 3, go. You know, like they do in Lethal Weapon. So we go 1, 2, 3, go. And we're rolling into the good old 20th Century Fox logo that you don't even see anymore, and the fanfare and Does it feel different for you seeing a Star Wars movie not having that now?
Nah, I sort of, that sort of stuff blows over me a bit. I do like it though. It's pretty cool. Yeah,
it's a nice little well, that's what that was, and this is what this is.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I have no clear memory of the first time I saw Empire Strikes Back.
Me neither.
Do you have one? Return of the Jedi is very, very... I went to the cinema, I saw it, with my family. Yep. I know exactly where and when and what happened, and that is... Empire Strikes Back just feels like I feel like I might have even seen it after Return of the Jedi all the way through.
Yeah, it's possible that I did too, because I think I might have read the comic or something, but it was never on television. Star Wars was on television, but Empire never was. So I remember that, and we didn't have a VCR. So whenever we hired a VCR for a birthday party or something, I'd always get Empire Strikes Back. or if Mum was going around to a friend's place who had a VCR, we'd hire it on the way and I'd watch it.
You'd be good for a couple of hours, not annoying anybody.
Yeah, yep. They'd either let me use a VCR or let me through their older kids' records. So.
Right. Yeah. Less chance of breaking something just sitting down watching Empire Strikes Back, really.
Yeah, I guess I should have read that so we knew what was going on. But
well, we assume everybody knows what's going on in Empire Strikes Back. But growing up, it was always the scary one. For me, Empire Strikes Back is always considered the scary one. It always felt a bit more intense. Yeah. So I had friends who had the storybook and things, and even that felt like, oh, this is intense. Like some of the imagery and the frozen Han and Luke all sort of beaten up and stuff. So it took me a long time to. I don't think I ever really fully appreciated it until maybe even as late as the special editions and stuff. I think it was always sort of the other one, and then when the special editions came out and I started watching them en masse because I owned them, I had them on video then, it absolutely shot to the top of the pile.
Yeah, I always loved this one because I very rarely got to see it, and also it's got Hoth in it, which is I'm just all about.
Which we've just arrived at.
Yep. So, yeah, something I've always been confused about. Here comes the little probe droid. The one, Luke, does Luke see another one? Or
is this the one he sees? Or does he see...
Yeah.
No, I think he sees another one because he does... Because it cuts to him and then he looks in his thing and he sees something, doesn't he? Because the impact...
Yeah, because he tells Han that he's going to go check it out. So
it's weird that they'll explode the second you shoot them with a blaster, but then they'll fly in through the atmosphere and smash into the ground at 1,000 miles of them. They just get up, dust themselves off, and keep walking.
There's quite an excellent...
Yeah, there he goes. There, Luke does see another one there plop down.
Or maybe that's just a generic asteroid or something. I'm not really sure.
Well, Luke's got to check everything. He's,
Well, I like how we it says in the crawl that that they're led by Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, it's like, what a promotion.
Yeah, and it's just like what he's really doing is just doing like, what would you call this? Security guard duty?
Security guard perimeters, yeah. Considering the reputation of security guards in Melbourne, particularly at the moment, it's not, hopefully Luke doesn't quite do that and doesn't quite get off his post and things. But, he does go out on assignment and get knocked off his tauntaun pretty first time he gets out. And,
yeah.
And he's in the middle of nowhere. Like the opening shot, Luke is like tauntaun's running through a path where there is nothing around him. So unless that tauntaun is just sort of ambling up behind him while he's yakking on the phone.
What I don't get is why didn't the Wampa take the tauntaun instead of Luke? Like, surely there's more to eat on a.
Is that what he's eating when he's in the special edition? He's got the shot where he's kind of like. Is he eating the tauntaun?
For it?
Maybe he went back for it.
Yeah.
Maybe humans are tastier. He's like, well, that's dessert. I've got to save that for the, the main course.
Well, he's hanging that. He's hanging the human to sort of for flavour.
Yeah. And we got Han and Chewie back in the game. Yeah, it's just the funny feeling of Empire. I think especially when I was little, of like, oh, they're all just back, but they're just there. There's no like introduction. They're just sort of picking up where they left off, and everyone's a bit more grumpy.
Oh, great glimpse of a couple of other women in Star Wars there.
Oh, yeah, there's a couple there in the background.
Yep.
Where's their action figure?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's
their television series?
I used to always joke when we were kids that the rebels in the Hoth thing just got strepsils attached to their to their uniforms. General Rykeen or whoever it is.
Actually, General Ryken or whatever, he seems like a good boss.
Like, he's pretty reasonable. I think he dyes his hair.
Yeah.
It's like he's definitely older than us, and he's got a full head of dark brown hair going on there.
I like he just gives him a handshake, give you a reference if you need it, mate.
Yeah,
it's all good.
It's just like, dude, you know what we're in the middle of here? Like, you just sort of walk away, just like that. I was like, oh, all right, just like that. I mean, I'd always speculated about why Han hadn't paid off Jabba with the reward money he'd gotten. Because he does get the reward money for bringing home Princess Leia, and I had brought that up, and then there was like pretty much about a week after it happened, there was some sort of Star Wars comic where they explained that Han got caught up in a mess with a mate and had to pay off someone to save some friend's skin, so he had no money. But like the Princess and the Rebellion, they got money. Like, if Han Solo's, is he that undervalued where they're not like, let's just cough up a few more bucks and keep you here, mate? If the only difference is, a few thousand credits.
Yeah. I love this scene. It's like, how annoyed do you think all their co-workers are with, because this stuff would be constant between these two.
The bickering
and getting in the road, and they're like, we're trying to set up a base here.
And people are just literally just like, out of the way, like, let me through, you idiots. Like, just,
And it's just constant, isn't it? Like, look, he's whinging and carrying on here. You think that General Reagan's just like, look, I'm not using our money to pay off. Yeah, for this dude.
I don't think Hart hates it here. I think he's just using an excuse. He's probably got the money. He's just like, oh well, if I don't pay Jabba the Hutt, like, I'm dead. So I guess I'm gonna have to leave this freezing place where everyone hates me, and the girl I like hates me, and yeah.
Who's the old general in Star Wars? Is it General Dodonna or something?
Dodonna, I think so.
Yeah. I noticed he didn't rock up to this place. It's just like, no, not at my age. I'm not going to.
I actually think
I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Yeah, it's a bit cold, mate. I was pushing hard for the tropical beach planet to hide out on, but you guys insisted on the freezing cold place.
I also love this bit that they're having trouble with their speeders in the cold. Oh, is that tauntaun diarrhea in the background there?
Oh, that great big
sprayed on the wall.
It could be. They're like, we gotta get these speeders going. These tauntauns.
They had time to domesticate and break in and learn to ride tauntauns in the time it takes to put antifreeze in the in the snow speeders.
Well, they don't. But you think you'd check that before you moved somewhere, wouldn't you? Like, it just seems like, oh yeah, the one piece of tech we've got to get around. It doesn't like the cold very well. We're having a bit of trouble with that. Probably should have thought of that before we moved to the coldest place in the galaxy. But anyway, not to worry. Yeah, there's Luke just being prepped. He's sort of. Yeah, so I'm assuming that's the tauntaun that he's eating there. In fact, I can't really, you can't really tell, but I mean, this is probably one of the better special edition sort of seamless shots, isn't it? Really,
I think it's really good. I remember it being fairly ropey in the original.
Yeah, it's sort of a swinging arm behind it. It's sort of like a Muppet arm kind of. That's a particularly good.
Have you seen the outtake of the Wampa subplot?
Oh, is this where he's loose in the base and 3PO is like removing signs and murdering people and stuff?
Yeah, there's also they sort of running around, belting up rebels and stuff, but the Wampas look so bad.
Yeah, right. Like not even Jim Henson could save that one.
Oh no.
All the money went to Yoda.
Yeah.
It's funny though,
and that was the exact reason that they cut it too. But it's in the comics and all that.
I'm pretty sure it's still just a suit. Like, this is still just a suit. It's just I've just spent more money.
It's a much better one, yeah. How do you think Luke's a bit sadistic here? Why didn't he sort of put it out of its misery?
Well, why didn't he kill the Wampa, stay in the cave where it's clear? Yeah. Like, if he's out in the snow, it's probably going to be nicer to stay in the cave. I mean, maybe there's lots of Wampas and doesn't want to have to kill them all. But
do you think he even knows which way he's going? How would you?
No. It's just thinking preservation. But it's a miracle that he finds it, that they find each other, obviously.
Fate of the Galaxies on this Muppet. So,
have you ever read the Star Wars Infinities comic? Have you ever heard of those where it's like, if one thing changes, and I think the Empire one is that Luke dies in the snow, and then Han goes to Dagobah. And
I haven't read it, but I've seen a synopsis.
I've read it.
I think
it's not great. None of them are particularly good, but
I'm sort of on the lookout for more tauntaun poo on the walls now. I'm sort of pretty convinced that's.
They're just counting down the days until those speeders get ready. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luke does have a rough trot in this film, doesn't he? Really?
Yeah. It's this whole start of the movie's just like a screwball romantic comedy with Luke in a subplot having a very bad day. Really, it's.
Now we need to talk about. Now we can't see it in that shot there. Actually, you know what? I'm going to save it till we get later in the film. I want to talk about Luke's lightsaber, but we'll get to it when we get a better look at it. Because I was just looking at something just popped in my head then in that shot where he's sort of staggering around in the snow. But we'll come to it. But those stop motion tauntauns hold up reasonably well too, don't they?
They do, and the close ups do as well. All these shots are quite beautiful. I like how it sort of just cuts back and forth from all the different scenes. It's quite cool.
Mm. And it's something I appreciate, I've seen this movie so many times, and probably the majority of the times have been taped off the telly or, on a VHS as a kid. Like, when you actually watch it in widescreen, I still find myself looking onto the sides of things because...
Yeah.
It's actually funny. You can see the door starting to close before the noise starts in the shot before as well.
Look at the beautiful night sky out there. I'd never really noticed that before.
Yeah.
I'd never seen that poo stain on the wall either. So it's,
You got to wonder, do they really need to close the doors? Shouldn't they send a few more people out there? I don't know.
Well, again, you have to sort of wonder how they're really viewed in the whole thing.
As they're just a couple of breeze-ins who got lucky.
Yeah, exactly. Got given ceremonial titles and sort of then sent them out to just do pointless busy work on snow horses. and they still stuffed it
up. He's like, he was almost out the door, and then his mate had to go and ruin it for us. I guess it's Princess Leia's friends.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what this would have made this scene is if Obi-Wan Kenobi was wearing a snow parka as well.
It's cold.
Yeah. Luke, you've been going the wrong way.
That way.
The base is the other way.
Interesting time to tell him, like, what if he just dropped dead anyway? Like, Ben, he's like, you couldn't have told me this, the day before or when I was able to do these things. It's just an interesting choice, but,
Ben, bring help.
As Alec Guinness got his, however millions Alec Guinness got for coming back. For all the times he sort of derided it in the aftermath, he still showed up.
Yeah, and delivered good performances too.
Yeah,
he never looks like he's phoning it in or anything.
Nah, so. But I mean, he is Alec Guinness. He probably doesn't have to try too hard.
Yeah.
And I do like that look from Han when he looks at the Tauntaun just dying. Like, all right, now we're in a little trouble here. He does well though, Han, and it was always funny. Like, oh, Han's holding a lightsaber, right?
It wasn't there some silly thing that only Jedis could activate lightsabers or something at some stage in some.
Oh really? Well, then like your hand would fall off or something. Or...
Yeah, I don't know.
Or is it like that thing where it's like the Superman's entrance to the Fortress of Solitude? The key is so heavy that only Superman can lift it.
Or is Thor's hammer like that too?
Yeah, I think that's a word. Yeah, if you're worthy. I don't think that's an actual feat of strength, but yeah, similar thing. But
okay.
Well, that would absolutely destroy Star Wars comics if that was the case, because everybody gets bloody lightsabers in those Star Wars comics, including Han again,
including Luke straight after this too. He's still got his lightsaber.
Yeah,
I've sort of been reading the old comics a bit. It's quite good. So somebody decided to finally pour the antifreeze in the snow speeders, obviously. Look, they've got massive radiators at the back. That's
maybe they just went, look, if we just close the door, they'll be warm enough. So, we could either kill Luke and keep the door closed, keep the speeders warm, and then we can zoom around. And if we get lucky, he might still be alive. But yeah, look, I did love the speeders. I've never owned a speeder. I know you're on a bit of a Hoth collecting kick at the moment. What's your speed of range looking like at the moment?
I've got a newer one that I bought fairly beaten up for the kids to play with. But I don't have a vintage one. I did badly want one after I worked out that Father Christmas wasn't going to bring me an AT-AT. So,
you readjusted your expectations, did you?
Yeah, I did. I lowered them by half.
You went, I went AT-AT, speeder, and then mini rig, and then bigger.
So I remember sleeping Christmas Eve with Luke in his X-Wing stuff and Chewbacca, because that was who was in the picture on the box, hoping for Christmas morning to put them straight in, and
didn't happen.
Nope.
There was no Christmas miracle.
No.
I never owned any vehicles. I had one or two mini rigs, and that was it. I had cousins who had stacks of vehicles. Like one had the Tiderian shuttle and all sorts of those. God. But like there was no, I never had any of that. But I was certainly like a snow speeder. That new Black Series snow speeder is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I see in the background there that red tank. That's originally what Luke was supposed to be floating in red stuff.
Oh right,
but it didn't work, and it was quite gross apparently. So
I just love it still sitting in the background there.
Yeah, well,
And I do like this Han just absolutely twisting the knife on Leia here. It's just. I mean, you can't fight the chemistry, can you? Really, like it's no surprise that Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher, were involved on the filming of this. It's sort of
that's like very family friendly way of saying that, Josh.
Well, you never know who might be listening.
Yeah, I really really like this film more and more just for all the dialogue in this, because I reckon they could have just changed the delivery of it, and it would have been like a screwball comedy. And I looked up, and Irvin Kershner actually directed movies like that.
Oh, right.
So I reckon he could have just, they could, because they're all decent actors. They could have this could have been the first Star Wars comedy, I reckon.
Oh, and there it is.
Oh yeah, it always seems a little bit longer than the last time I saw it.
It just lingers a little bit. I do like hard, just sort of like take it easy, like it's all he can say. It's sort of Yeah. Yeah, they just never matched. They've just never matched the chemistry and the dialogue. Like I think the sequels, particularly the first two, I think the snappiness. There is a lot more snappiness and naturalness to the dialogue and things, but it's never been bettered in Empire. I don't think. Just the acting and the delivery and
Yeah, and everyone sort of.
But it's also the naturalness as well. There are bits where they kind of mumble to themselves, or pauses and all that kind of stuff. It really does And
that sort of stuff's not in the script. That comes from somebody who does direct comedies and dramas.
Absolutely.
I think it's fantastic. Funny comic trivia: the very next comic after the Empire Strikes Back adaptation involves a bigger probe droid that goes into ships and takes over ships.
Oh, right.
And turns them into bombs to try and find the rebel fleet and blow up in the middle of the rebel fleet. Sounds ropey, but it's quite great.
Maybe should have opened with that, I do like Chewie in the snow. I do like that's always a nice little... It just looks like the worst place to work, doesn't it? It just looks like you're absolutely... Like, just the fact that it's just snow on the roof and things, it's sort of like, you'd think that they could just insert some sort of living quarters, which they seem to have in some places, but then other places it's just, sitting in a room full of snow.
No, with two of your co-workers just bickering all the time.
Yeah, all the time. Like, shut up, you two. And here we go, we come back to Vader.
See, I like the fact that all the Star Destroyers are a darker colour. Like somebody had to paint them. Like, talking about pointless busy work. Like, imagine that. And what a great example of failing up this is. Like, Darth Vader at the end of the last movie was in a tiny little TIE fighter spinning out of control because he just managed to get the Death Star blown up. And look at this. Now he's got like a city-sized
ship at his disposal. Yeah, he's just managed to pin blame on the right people, I think. It's that's what you do. You just got to point the finger in the right place.
I think that's why all these people are so jack with him, because, not only is his management style a bit severe, he's just one of those people that just fails up.
Absolutely. But he's surrounded by idiots as well, which doesn't help. It does, they've got a pretty strict idiot white guy policy, the Empire. So,
white British guy.
Yeah, a lot of white. You're not getting a lot of,
with ridiculous helmets.
There's not a lot of big sort of diversity of ideas and stuff. That's a slightly ropey blue screen, just there.
Matte painting,
but it's not all perfect. And I do love the running thing of the Falcon. Just they fall into bits as well. My favourite sort of Falcon is the one that's not quite, things are sort of on fire and I just think that's really great. I don't want it running too smoothly any of the time.
But look at Luke's hair is pretty great there.
It's just that slightly washed look, isn't it?
Yeah. That's a bit familiar, Luke.
Yeah, just kind of give him like a wet willy or something, isn't it? Just like stick his finger in his ear. Yeah, it's weird this, how they just kind of like... I think Han has probably threatened to leave so many times now that it's like, oh yeah, you're leaving, good luck. You'll be back 10 minutes later. It's sort of, he's never really going to be gone. He's always sort of just threatening to walk out. He's like... Michael Bluth in Arrested Development is always threatening to leave the family, and he never actually does it.
Jeez, you're right. Look, they really do look like strepsils.
Yeah, they do. There's not if you're working in an environment that's covered in snow, you're going to have a scratchy throat the best of times. So,
can you imagine?
Always going to have a strepsil on hand.
That is a lot of paint needed for these things. That looks like it would absolutely suck to sit inside that big black sphere.
So the idea is, I think he can sit in it with his helmet off. I think that's basically what it is, isn't it? I think.
Okay.
That it's
he doesn't have to sit in a huge tank of water like he does in the other movie, Rogue One.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things that's been retro thing. I think that went, it just looks kind of cool that he's just, for some reason, he's got a ship the size of a city and he sits in a room that's about, that he can almost touch with the edge of his fingers as he puts his arms out.
He's got agoraphobia and he's just like...
I'm much like her in my small little TIE fighter, so I've got to have my office is just going to have a little working pod that I can go into.
It's like, is this really a failure though?
I mean, they've got the means to win anyway. It's not like it's going to make that much difference. I guess it's more you give them a little bit of time to get away, but because they saw you coming. But they didn't actually. They knew they were coming because the probe droid did it. So he doesn't have all the facts, Vader, but he's...
So there's 60 years of experience just down the drain.
Yep. A bit ageist, the old Empire.
And, he's complaining about people failing him. Like, he blew up the Death Star.
So where's Cliff? Is that Cliff from Cheers there on the left? Isn't Cliff from Cheers?
No, I don't think that's him.
With the mo, he's in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah, he is, yeah. I love these guys. They just look like...
It just looks so bizarre without the helmet on, isn't it? That weird thing on their heads. Like, is it just to keep their ears warm? Is that basically what it is?
Yeah. So they're... Oh, that's another thing. I wanted one of those turrets. Never got it.
Oh. No such luck.
Nah.
It is quite good when you play. I don't know if I know you're not much a huge video game guy, Frost, but when you played the Battlefront 2 sort of Hoth maps and things, and you get a really good idea of the sort of the geography of everything or where everything is, and those games are quite good. For our first catch, the worst line in Empire Strikes Back.
The best line. I love that bit so much.
And it was like, why are they going to him all of a sudden? It's just very strange.
Yeah, it's just a great part of the movie because you get that line and then finally somebody other than a woman other than Princess Leia gets to say something.
Yeah.
So
it is that weird. I mean, I know they always pick holes in Star Wars of, they decide to take off on the side of the planet where all the ships are rather than sort of scoot around the other side. But I understand that there's no movie if you do that. So
that's probably my least. And all the movies, it doesn't matter whether they crash land on a planet, they always land near whatever the plot needs them to. It's fine. It's the movie.
So are snow speeders, are they impractical? Having two people, one guy just working a gun on the back, aren't you better off having an extra snow speeder?
I actually, the guy at the back also works with guns at the front. I don't know where I found that out, but he's doing all the targeting sort of those as well. But I guess when you're thinking about the impracticalities of that, when you're sort of up against AT-ATs, which
but the guns are stuck to the front, they don't really move. But anyway,
yeah.
I think Luke is firing the front ones, but I'm not too sure. I mean, do you reckon he's happy or annoyed that he's got Luke Skywalker? Surely he'd be like, well, Luke Skywalker's flying. I think things should be all right. This is the young, hopeful guy. He's like, I can take on the whole Empire by myself. Oh, great. I'll be with Luke Skywalker. What is he, Captain Skywalker then? No, Commander Skywalker?
Yeah. Which seems like a terribly big over-promotion for somebody who just goes out.
Well, Dak's about to find out, isn't he? He's about to find out the hard way that Luke got lucky, and now he might be a little bit reckless and get his mate shot. I mean,
poor Dak. This
absolutely holds up amazingly, doesn't it? It's crazy to think this is 40 years old.
And they're so gloriously stupid AT-ATs. They're my favourite thing in Star Wars, easily. But there's 0 point to them.
No, but they're just great. I love it, and they look, they've turned up in things since, and I think it's been good that they've always consciously tried to make them a little bit as janky as they are in this, but it just all works. I know this has been touched up slightly, the special edition, but I think the actual animation and stuff on it still looks great. And there he goes. He's just like, Luke.
There's nothing worse than when that really cheerful person in a group gets something really bad, like death, happen to them.
Like last day to retirement. Here's a picture of my sweetheart. Can't wait to see her again. It's like all those World War II movies and stuff.
I love General Veers, his old get up to his costume. It's awesome.
I've got that Black Series over on the shelf over there. I think you inspired me to get it, actually, because I think you really wanted it, and I thought, oh, maybe I should get one.
Yeah, and a shout out to both of our good friend Turbo bought me that as a gift. So
what a guy, Turbo.
Oh, what a guy, and it is a brilliant figure. Like, I'm not even into figures, so
I am into figures, and it is a very good figure. And we got Wedge back as well. So,
oh god, I'm so over Wedge.
For some reason, way more important than he really needs to be. I think it's just the fact of making it to the end. I think, and then, but also I think a little bit of like Dennis Lawson was Jack of Star Wars, and then he came back, so everybody was like, "Oh, you're back," like. People give Anthony Daniels a lot of crap, but he was always there for Star Wars.
Yeah.
He didn't turn his back for 30 years.
I mean, if you read if you look at the first movie, he's sort of written as the guy that, thinks it's over, can't make it, can't hang in there. He's the coward that runs, and he suddenly ends up
revered.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't get it. Good name, though. Wedge Antilles.
It is a good name.
Good Star Wars name.
It is a good name. This is nice. I just love that this is all like the fighting. There's literally soldiers running by and Harness just still trying to get his car to go. Like, it's just, he's not at all interested in getting in a speeder and helping out or anything like that.
Getting some space jumper leads.
Yeah. Yeah, it does look. Oh, that looks so good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to know what those soldiers are thinking, though. Like, they really should be... what are they shooting at? It doesn't look like anything that they're shooting is actually at all effective.
I know, but all their equipment looks so cool. Like, it just looks...
Yeah.
There's boxes and hoses and stuff going around. Oh, there's a little fella.
A little chicken walker. Apparently not exactly the same as the Return of the Jedi one. Where did I read? Somebody was talking about that. Was it Bad Motivators or someone, or King Tom, or somebody was trying to making a point that that's not actually the same one as the ATST. It's slightly different. But I was like, all right, well, that just sounds like the domain of someone like King Tom who knows the facts.
Sounds like the domain of somebody else. Oh, goodbye.
Another one bit the dust. Oh, that was the guy who saved Luke, I think.
Yeah, I know. Noticed Luke couldn't save him.
No.
Some hero.
Although we are leading up to an awesome moment of Luke, of Lukeness.
Yeah. Yeah, snow speeders are great. They really are. This whole thing, like snow troopers, the AT-AT drivers, the snow speeders.
I'm surprised they've never come back. They've kind of put everything else they brought everything else back. We haven't seen a speeder in a live action thing at all. Like, no, not even, I don't know.
Well, surely it'll be in The Mandalorian because
I was going to say that, and I was going to wait for you to just chime in. Well, because they're not actually designed for. They're actually not designed for snow, so they're probably just get around. I'd love that. Why you can
guarantee that there'll be 5 snow speeders flying into a fake sunset at some stage in The Mandalorian, mate.
Flying away. Oh, all right, time to get him out of here.
It's pretty.
She's quite short, Carrie Fisher, isn't she? Because I think every time I watch these commentaries, I get fixated on how tall people are, and I always think Harrison Ford is particularly tall, but I don't think he's actually super tall. But
no,
I think Carrie Fisher's just.
He might be short. Our height, maybe.
Yeah,
with sort of that.
Which is tall for that. Tall for the 80s. Yeah. Tall for the early 80s. Here we go. This is good.
This is good.
And I think the little compartment does actually open just before he hits it too. I think if you look very carefully. Oh, maybe not. It's just it does actually slide open. I'm not quite sure why it slides open rather than sort of cutting a hole, but yeah.
If I threw that thing up there, it'd come straight back down out again.
And like blow you up as you're falling on the way down.
One thing I used to hate. I had the A4 size picture storybook for Empire Strikes Back got it for a song at a church fete or something like that. And there was no pictures of the AT-ATs in it. All there was the picture of the underneath of it when Luke did that. That was it.
Dear. You'd think they'd be on the cover or something, wouldn't it?
Oh, God. Don't get me started.
Still holding the drive. There's the old AT-AT driver. We haven't talked about the AT-AT driver. Still very good to drive. Good design too.
That's one of the only other figures I have. That's my favourite.
Well, I do have that anniversary one that's just sitting on my shelf right now. That is yours. Well, one day, there's the sign, the Don't Enter sign, that the subplot that never was on the left there.
That thankfully never was. Yeah, I actually looked up because I saw somebody on Twitter had bought a helmet, like a.
Oh yeah, like an AT-AT driver helmet.
No, it wasn't an AT-AT driver, but it made me think. Can you buy an AT-AT driver one? And I looked one up, and a shop in Australia has them. They're $900.
Oh,
so yeah. Oh, here comes my boys. Look at their capes.
They look great.
Little side capes.
The old I do like that Vader does get a bit hands on the ground. Like he does sort of, he does still want to be involved. It kind of becomes clear that he's looking for Luke, really, but I don't know why he would think Luke would still be there. But it looks like, is that the same spot the Falcon's been in all the time, though?
I don't know.
Because the Falcon was sort of in this spot where everybody was kind of wandering past and things, and now it looks like it's down to some sort of corridor. But
is that some Tauntaun poo?
Oh yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Maybe you can burn it or something. I don't know.
Source of fuel.
It's funny. Just before we started, I did mention I watched Solo, a Star Wars story, yesterday or the day before, and then. Everything. They're looking at the Falcon now, where all the panels are falling off the thing, and you're like, it does. It's definitely the same ship, but it's like that's a rough couple of years. Like Han is not true. Like he loves this ship so much, he's not treated it well.
Yeah, and to be honest, I've got a lot in common like that, so I'm not particularly good with my toys. So,
with your car, like you should. Well, I've got small children. Like the inside of our car's a nightmare.
God!
It needs an absolute hose down and a vacuum and everything.
Yeah. Family cars should be made out of stainless steel, so you can just high pressure clean them out.
Just inside.
Yeah,
like their footy rooms after, like their footy rooms with the concrete floor or something.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Like, Luke's lightsaber. Oh, let's just quickly touch on this. This attachment to the belt, like flopping around.
Yeah.
He's gonna get look at it. He's gonna get hit in the bits with it just like that. I know in Jedi he clips it to the side. Look at it flopping around, and it's worse in Bespin. When we get to Bespin and he's running around there and it's just bouncing up and down, there must be outtakes of Mark Hamill getting hit in the balls with that lightsaber, just going, why is this thing just dagging down off my belt?
And I've never really worked out how that clip works, because they seem to be able to get it on and off their belts very quickly. I don't know if you've ever walked around with anything hooked to your belt, but it does not work like that.
No, you never did the old mobile phone on the belt thing or anything like that, mate?
Oh God, what do you think, mate? Of course not.
Well, you are a tradie though, so sometimes practicality, trumps fashion.
Doesn't mean I have to be a dickhead.
No, so. I think feel like that was early mobile phone days. But now we just absolutely, talk about stuff that absolutely holds up. Now, I had tickets to go see The Empire Strikes Back with the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra with a bunch of our friends who are probably listening to this. Hello, everybody. And then my daughter, Sloane, ended up being born on the day we were supposed to go, so I couldn't go.
Jeez.
But this bit here and the asteroid chase was the bit that I really wanted to see in person with the orchestra and stuff. So I'm really hoping one day they do it again so I can go.
I love this bit. It's like, how did they possibly get into this situation?
Get those ships so close to each other.
And then they take evasive actions and they just all lean against the nearest wall. It's just so good.
I love a bit of sort of 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea acting, like, whoa, whoa, towards that. Yeah, there are some great gags, of just things not working, and yeah. I think 3PO is very good in this too. I think me too. 3PO people, for all the things people say about Rise of Skywalker, 3PO is very good in Rise of Skywalker, but it is also played for emotion, like he's the last time thing. But so he's very good now. But I think he's at his absolute best in this. I think they know exactly what to do with him.
I like him in Jedi as well. Return of the Jedi.
Oh yeah, that's quite good.
And
tools falling on his head.
Actually, he's probably the best in this, but he's good in all the original 3 movies. There's a couple of lines he's got in the first one which are just brilliant. So in Star Wars.
Now, there is something that Han says there that I've never known what he says. So he goes, they go asteroids, and he sort of clicks the thing and he mumbles to himself something. He's like, I've played it back 1,000 times trying to figure out what he actually says. Like, we can't obviously go back. And there's no we've got the subtitles on. There's no subtitle for when he says it. It's like great or worse or like he says something. I think it's probably
Freemasons rule the world. Or...
Yeah, it might just be it might be just a Harrison ad-lib. I'm sure it is. But I'd really love to know what he says. So if anybody knows... let me know.
McClunky.
Yeah, maybe it's McClunky. This isn't the Disney. I was almost going to work out how we could do the Disney Plus version and share screens and things, but it was all too hard. So I think the way we've got it's working quite well. But I haven't watched it on Disney Plus yet. So I would like to watch it in 4K. And I'm assuming if there'd been anything else added to it, we'd know by now. If there'd been a McClunky moment in Empire, someone would have said something.
Yeah, somebody be onto it straight away. Isn't there a potato somewhere here?
Apparently. I've never seen it. I think there's a shoe as well. I think it's one of those things where, yeah.
There's there's in that storybook I was telling you about. There's like a double page spread of one of these scenes up here.
I think I know the book you're talking about. I'm almost positive my friend had it.
And the matte painting looks very much like a matte painting. But when everything's moving, you don't perceive it that way, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it could just be, I think some of the special edition stuff they did was sort of, adjust the lighting and stuff so it matches a little bit better. Yeah. So it's not quite as clear that there's, in some shots. Yeah. But, I mean, shots like this where the Falcon is absolutely perfect, And I know we haven't got the sound going, but, the music is, what could you say about the music that hasn't already been said?
Yeah, it's probably the best music of the, everyone goes on about it, but the Imperial March is pretty damn good. Especially in that scene, like where you first see the big Star Destroyer, a Super Star Destroyer and stuff.
They're not mucking around.
No dialogue, just great.
So this is one of those moments, where Luke manages to crash his fighter right next door to where the person he's looking for in an entire planet of people,
I also like he's, how many kilometres up in the air, and he can take perfectly good life readings, but down on Hoth they had to ride around on space horses, snow horses, to find life readings with little doodahs. It's just, okay.
I mean, I know that there's always the retcon of Yoda pulled him in and, made him crash in the right spot, which may or may not be true, I suppose. I mean, who really cares?
I don't care.
I just let the story ride.
Yeah, I don't really want to see a Lord of the Rings style movie where Luke has to walk for 5 days to find him. It's not really
still just walking. But
yeah.
I do like the stories of, we're on the Dagobah set now, the stories of, how funky the whole set just got, because it's a tepid water on it under lights for a few weeks.
Yeah.
It does look pretty impressive, though.
Yeah, it does.
There is an R2. They have done a 40th anniversary R2 that's sort of covered in mud. He's been spat out by that, whatever it is, the big whale in the water and things.
Yeah.
I've thought about getting it, but no such luck just yet.
Oh, his hair looks good there again.
Yeah, he's got some good hair going on in this one, Hamill. I mean, obviously, we didn't mention that, the Wampa scene was kind of written in because he was in a car accident and he had all these scarring on his face and stuff. But
car accident or a motorbike accident?
I don't know, one or the other. I don't know. He was living large off that Star Wars money. He must have felt like king of the world and just,
Bought himself a bike he didn't know how to ride or something.
Yeah, I've never really heard the details of it. Just like he was in a car accident. I don't know whether, he was, boozing or whether he was just zipping around, somebody knocked him or anything. I don't really.
That bit gets me every time when he jumps into the water. It's just like, oh, gross. Now he's cold and wet for the rest of the day. It's just, oh.
Yeah, you could have just... I think
it wasn't that far.
Yeah, it wasn't
a running
that far.
jump.
Yeah, it would have been funny if he did a running jump and then sort of got to the edge and just slid and rolled down the thing into the water. That would have been quite funny. Oh, look, I see, he's got... That must be slightly waterproof, though, that thing. But he did go all the way in, though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, it took a beating, that R2.
Do you know it would be even worse if it was mostly waterproof, but there was just a couple of... And it just sort of trickled in?
Yeah. You just got, one wet bit down your back or something, yeah.
Just straight into your jocks and then down into your socks. It's just not good.
They must be heavier R2s. Like I've seen, droid builders and stuff at conventions and things like that, and zipping around. And I always get a little sort of starstruck when I see an R2 sort of cruising around and things, even if it's just made by some guy in his shed. But yeah, they must be bloody heavy to move and things.
Do you reckon they'd have to have a little fridge in them, wouldn't they? See, that's... If I ever made a droid, it'd have to have like a little bar fridge, I think.
Oh, you could just get it. Well, that's the whole thing. You got to go, wow, wouldn't it be amazing to have an R2? And it's like, where would you put it? And I live in a normal person's house with not particularly wide open spaces. I wouldn't be able to really get around.
No,
like it's hard enough getting that. It's hard enough getting that little like Sphero BB-8 around. But and then we get a little bit of the old charred noggin.
That's very manky.
I mean, that was the sort of stuff that, freaked me as a kid, of just sort of like, I never thought that Vader wasn't a person in there. I know some people weren't sure whether he was a robot or something,
yeah.
But
I think I thought the stormtroopers were robots.
Yeah, I never really gave it that much thought.
They look like cough lollies of some description as well.
Yeah, they're like the other brand. It's like the like the rival brand.
Imperial brand.
Yeah, like Imperial brand. They're like the black and gold. They just sort of...
Rebel Souls and... Oh, yeah, they're in the hole now, aren't they?
Yeah, there's some good sort of wobbling acting going on.
Yeah.
Colour
really...
Some great lines. I do like them take the professor out the back and plug him into the hyperdrive.
Yeah, there we go.
He probably would be, annoying. I mean, everybody would get on each other's nerves pretty quickly. We haven't really talked about, timelines in this. There's a lot of conjecture about how long Empire Strikes Back actually takes. They don't have a hyperdrive, so they're probably driving for quite a long time in places and things. But
I like to think it all happens in the afternoon.
Well, I think this is quite recent. They've only just got away and they've just parked. So this is like they're already getting on each other's nerves. I mean, like you said, Han and Leia are already at it. They're already digging the needle into each other.
At least they're not with the rest of the military and preventing them from doing their job like they were before.
Yeah, the rest of the alliance has gotten away going like, does everything just seem a little bit easier all of a sudden?
You haven't got somebody pretending to look over you what you're doing while they eavesdrop in on the...
Princess Leia, she's a nice person, but she's a terrible micromanager. Like, she absolutely just sits on you and just has to know everything that's going on. So there they go. Look at that lightsaber dagging around off Luke's belt. He's going to get whacked in the nuts a lot of times. That's a tweet. There you go. If I ever get a chance to ask a question to Mark Hamill, I might have to ask him that. He probably, at least he'd be like, "Wow, I've never been asked that one before." I think you'd at least get that. But and I do like his lunchbox.
He must have had a little wardrobe in there because he's got his change of clothes, which is good.
Yeah.
So.
I always thought that was a summer roll that he was eating there when I was a kid. If you know the old summer rolls.
I know them quite well. Quite fond of them, actually.
I can't remember the last time I've had one. I'm kind of like, I wouldn't mind a summer roll. There he is. No, I always knew Yoda was Yoda, even though I can't remember the first time I saw the film.
Yeah,
it was never a sort of a revelation. Like, I suppose that revelation will never... It'll be very hard for kids to... Yoda's kind of everywhere now.
Yeah, well, he's a baby now. Baby Yoda as well.
Yeah.
That's not what we're here to talk about, but Yoda's characterization in this is probably the main reason I didn't really get into the prequels too much. I couldn't really handle.
Was it digital Yoda or?
No, not the look of him, just the characterization.
He was a bit more serious.
Ultra serious and sort of, very much. I would have preferred him to be sort of a bit eccentric, being maybe on the outer of
not necessarily the leader, council. Like the head honcho, more just sort of like the nut bar over the side who who was the last man standing.
Who sort of was the one who was sort of trying to get things go back the other way. But it doesn't matter.
I love that. When he's shining that light. Oh, God. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, making a mess. Yeah, it's just... I mean, I don't know. Maybe we got such an emotional attachment to Yoda and we don't see the puppet. Like, I just don't see the puppet. I just see the character.
Yeah.
I don't...
Me too.
Maybe other people kind of go, and I was so happy when he came back as a puppet in Last Jedi, even though I think the start of that he looks a little ropey for whatever reason. I think it's just the angle is a bit weird, but then, it just looks 20 times better than any of the other stuff that they did. And I think Rian Johnson was obviously a big fan of the puppet as well. So
and of the characterization too. He comes back as very much this type of Yoda. I found that scene extremely satisfying.
But it's serious, but it's all a bit silly. It's all not that serious. It's like, dude, like stop beating yourself up. Like Whereas, as I said, like it's an issue I have. I don't think the prequels should have been any different than what they were. But it's just something that I personally would have probably liked a bit more. So, these are good scenes. I remember finding them when I'd hire the video. Like I was telling you earlier, I did used to find the Dagobah scenes a little bit of a drag. Yep.
I don't know if I told you, but my first two figures that Mum bought me were Darth Vader and Luke X-Wing.
Oh, nice.
But my second two figures were Lando Calrissian and an Ugnaught.
Oh, right.
And I had no idea where they were from, because I hadn't seen the movie. So I had this, dude and...
a little dude.
And a little pig dude and like a... Lando, and just no idea. So and I fell in love with Hoth and everything on there straight away, and then I just wanted to get to the bit where Lando and the Ugnaughts were in it. So
get the figures ready.
Yeah. And nobody likes smooching either when you're 6. So
I do remember. I know this is a different movie. I'm coming back to Solo. That when I went and saw Solo, and I took my best mate and his kids. And then when Han and Kira were smooching, that was like I could just see that they'd put their hands over the eyes for the they were not interested in the smooching at all. But I do this is all time classic movie romantic stuff, isn't it? Really, I mean, I know it's. I don't see any problem with it. I think Leia's giving as good as she gets. I think sort of.
No, it's just movie stuff.
It's just movie stuff.
It's just like, finally, can you guys get
it over and done with?
Yeah.
Which is weird that they've, I think, was it a year between Star Wars and Empire? Is it? I don't know exactly timelines, but it's sort of it's a long time coming, it seems.
Yeah.
And they kind of like the comics that they've been doing where they've filled the gaps. I mean, I like to read them because I just like Star Wars content, but it's very much like them trying to dance around, the reasons of why they're trying to have these other adventures and things are happening, and all the stuff that happens in this hasn't happened already. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels like they're all just on adventures all together and spending all this time together, really. Whereas, like, I like the idea that all the major adventures happen in the movies, and the rest of the time they're just kind of sitting around.
Yeah. Do you see that just the whole Star Destroyer just got wiped out?
Yeah.
It's just like, I guess when you've been responsible for losing an entire Death Star, you just don't care anymore. Like
and then he just says, "Oh, we'll move our ship out of the asteroid field. The others can. The others will be okay. Don't worry about it."
Tell you, if I was in a Star Destroyer, I'd be hiding behind the big one like just underneath it there.
You feel like you'd be pretty safe in a Star Destroyer. Like it's sort of, it's better than being in like a little submarine or something like that. If you sort of, it's got a bit of weight to it. And then there's the new, the usual Emperor. It's not the we're not watching the lady with the monkey eyes or whatever it was.
Yeah, I didn't remember it. I remember seeing that and thinking, yeah, that's the same dude. It didn't look that different to me. But then you look at it now and you think, I think you're just willing to just accept just about anything as a kid. It's like, yeah, sure, that's the right thing.
Yeah, so. I mean, this is definitely... These lines are definitely slightly different too. Although the other one is sort of ingrained in my mind a bit more, but I'd have to go back and watch it.
It does change, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think they might have even changed it again for the Blu-ray. Like, I feel like they've mentioned... Because after the prequels, like, I think they dropped mentioning Anakin Skywalker and stuff in there as well. I'm sure there's a YouTube clip somewhere where you can see the, this is what it was, and this is what it was now, and this is what it was now. But
I like how, with the whole rule of two sort of thing, that surely Darth Vader knows that, and the Emperor obviously knows that. So when they're saying they're going to turn him, they're already going, all right, the plotting begins.
Someone's got to go here. Yeah, I think it's a little bit of gamesmanship, isn't there? Sort of the game is always like, well, yes, we shall see, won't we? Yes, we shall see. I do like R2 going up his little haunches there. I don't think I've ever seen him do that in any other thing where he goes up on. I mean, maybe in the cartoons and stuff where he's like flying around and things, but. Like Yoda's got little tech things on his wall there. Like you see a little thing sort of flashing lights and...
Isn't that R2 looking through the window?
Oh, is it? Oh, maybe it is. Because I was looking at it going like, that's weird, because I thought he was just living rough, like he didn't have any technology or anything. But I know there is a deleted scene in Revenge of the Sith where he comes down his little spaceship and stuff, so he must have had something to at least start.
That spaceship's not good.
No. Is it R2? Maybe it is. I would have to double check. We're running here. You can't go back.
Yeah, it was blinking red and blue.
It seems like it probably was. We'll have to, we'll get letters. But surely by now, Luke should have caught on. Really.
Yeah. Well, we have seen him do some pretty stupid things so far. So he might be the best hope of the galaxy, but he's not. He's not bright.
No, he's still a hayseed, effectively, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
I did like that. There is a little bit of the Muppets show veterinarian hospital with the voiceover. They all just start looking to the to the roof to see where it's coming from, which is still my favourite gag in the Muppets when the voiceover comes over and the Muppets all start looking around to see where it comes from. There's a little bit of that where Yoda's just sort of staring into the roof and things.
I've forgotten all about that. I like how, they obviously didn't have enough money to pay Alec Guinness to actually appear for this bit. Like, it's just a voice.
So, that'll do. Just do it over the phone, Alec. We'll put some reverb on it and you'll be fine.
See, I would have liked to have seen him appear again, but also dressed for the conditions, like in a pair of waders or something.
Yeah, he's like, well, this is my mud outfit. I was in my snow outfit. And you're like, it was like a fishing rod, and he's like, well, if I'm going to come here, I might as well make the most of it. So when he appears...
Yeah, see, there's R2 in the corner there.
Yeah, okay, you must be right. I just... yeah. I don't know
what those glowing... There he is, see? Oh. That's definitely R2.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
No, I want you to tell me I'm right.
No, I think you are right. You are right. You can have it.
No, it's good. I don't know what these little glowing crystals are on the wall. That's pretty cool. So you must, for lighting.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen the, like they do the crosshatch things. They show the inside of stuff, what everything means. Yeah. And have they ever done a Yoda's hut one? I think it might just be mud, more mud. It's sort of looks like he's got the same clothes on he had when he arrived.
Did they do those? I always think I'd like them, but I don't have any of them. Those visual dictionaries. Did they do them for the original movies?
Oh wow, I don't know actually.
Like in retrospect, I know they didn't do them at the time.
I don't know. I've never seen one. Maybe they should.
Yeah.
Why not? We've come this far.
I like those TIE bombers. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, again, another toy I never had, the TIE bomber or a TIE fighter.
Yeah, they didn't make a 3 3/4 one until much later, but they made a little die-cast one, which is really rare. I know this.
Little collector's corner there. I do like that.
Carrie Fisher's yell there is the most realist. That's exactly how people, men and women included, yell when they see things like that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. No, she plays that really well. Of just a sort of slightly horror, slightly surprised, slightly grossed out.
Yep. Kiara in particular yells exactly like that whenever she sees a spider. So.
Yeah, we've got a few sort of people not super keen on spiders here in our house, so it can happen.
We've only got one, but she sort of makes up for everybody else. So
I do like this is just, let's just get a soundstage, let's pump some dry ice and a few lights in here. And but it works, if they were doing this scene in a newer movie, it would be there'd be this sort of big cavernous thing that they'd be in and they'd be...
Establishing shot, yeah.
Yeah, you sort of, you don't even really need it. And then, even when the Minox start sort of flying around, it does look a little ropey. They're just sort of on a string being pulled in front of a...
they're just tied a heaps to a Hills hoist and they're just spinning the thing around.
Yeah, they're just a bit sort of let me just fly past. You can sort of see. It is a little ropey still, but it works. It's
the best way.
Yeah. But again, this would just be a 10-minute sequence of them sort of swooping down in front of camera.
Has Han got his belt on the wrong way?
Oh, I don't know.
Looks like he's got the bucket.
It's funny how that sort of the mask he wears sort of pushes his bouffant hairdo down a little bit. He's sort of
he's got mask hair.
Yeah, he's got a bit of mask hair going on. There is quite a lot of shaky set acting going on in this movie, more than I remember. No, this is very good. I do like this. I'm not a committee. That is
one of my favourite lines in the entire film. Right up there with our first catch of the day. I reckon probably, that's the one I sort of would like to use in real life as much.
If you could find a way for it
a window
to seamlessly work into context where it's
Yep. Surely she's worked it out by now.
Surely.
It's these guys are heroes, but they're not.
Yeah, they're still dumb. It does sort of beg the question why that creature is there. Well, why it's there with its mouth open that you could fly in. That is slightly strange, but...
See, I still like the concept that this is all happening on one day.
That Luke puts in maybe 2 hours of training and that's about it. What you see is what you get, really.
Yeah.
He's already sort of got the flips and things going. This just reminds me of the video game, the Super Empire Strikes Back video game.
Yeah.
It was just so hard. Those games are so hard. And Empire I do remember being particularly hard. And I've gone back and tried to play them. I got one of those Super Nintendo minis. I hacked it so I could put those games on it, and which was actually quite easy to do. And then sat down and tried to play them and just got hammered. And basically just went, I remember I was rubbish at this game 25 years ago and I'm still rubbish at it now.
It's easier to hack into a little consumer thing and reprogram it than it is to play the bloody game.
Yeah, exactly. If the game had been just to put the games on there, I would have won it by now. But
yeah, I remember them being incredibly frustrated. Again, I had no games machine, so I had to hire a games machine and I'd hire the Star Wars games. So, and then it's just this sucks. It's so hard.
And I was going, I remember going online going, maybe there's some cheat codes ever since now. And I was like, there's nothing. It's there must be something to make this game easier.
I think I had password codes to get to the start of each level.
Oh,
so
really?
I put all them in so I could at least experience the first few frames.
of each game before you got killed.
Before I died, yeah. So,
Luke is. Now we should do a little shout out to a friend of the show and and frequent guest, sometimes Jessica Schrader, who was on a few weeks ago and telling that her teenage awakening was Mark Hamill in his Dagobah, little singlet with his guns out.
Yeah. Well, fair enough.
It is sort of peak Hamill, I think.
It is, yeah. It's funny, like a lot of people talk about, Princess Leia being beautiful and, her being a bit of an awakening for them. But I was so young.
Yeah, same here. I never
seen her like that. And
not even the slave Leia stuff at all. Like, I was like 6.
6, yeah. It's just like, I thought she was just cool. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, so I've always just seen her. Like, you look at it and she's an incredibly beautiful woman. But, yeah, she's just always been that.
She wasn't like
never seen her that way.
Lust object or anything like that. No, not at all. Same for me. And then we go into the spooky cave. So this is certainly something that used to freak me out as a kid, and knowing that it was coming, that thing where you're looking but you're not really looking. You sort of, yeah.
Yeah, right. I never had that reaction.
I've never been a big fan of sort of scary things. It was always like the first ghost in
true.
Ghostbusters was the same, like the library ghost when it's sort of like, rah, I would always sort of look at the floor or something for those few seconds while that turned up. But
strange things freak me out. Like as a 7-year-old, I just pestered to watch Jaws until I was allowed to, and that didn't bother me at all. But Picnic at Hanging Rock freaked me out.
Oh, right,
so, yeah. That looks very earthy for a lizard.
Yeah, they've just gone down to the local. Well, it would have been in England. The creature shop,
Reptile World,
and gotten buddy Frank from Essex to come and bring a barrel of snakes to dress on the drag on the set.
All right, where do you want the lizards?
All right, mate. All right, geezer. Yeah. Tell him to not touch it. And then I mean this.
It's rare, that one. It's expensive.
I mean, this went completely over my head for a long time. I mean, I know it's still slightly ambiguous of what's going on, but I was a kid just going, why is Darth Vader there? And why is he rubbish as well? Just sort of...
Why isn't he talking? He loves a chat.
And then clunk, the old head came off. So I remember I did have a Star Wars. I have a Darth Vader. My original Darth Vader's all right, but I do remember somebody had maybe even took the head off his Darth Vader, or the head came off somehow, whether it was taken off or it was pulled off. But
they did come off pretty easily. Like both my Darth Vader and my probably about 6 or 7 of mine had super glued on heads.
My Han Solo definitely lost his head, so I had a super glue on Han Solo.
He was very flexible, that one.
But he's long gone. My Darth Vader is actually on my desk right now. I'm looking at him right now. He's sans cape and sans lightsaber. I'm sort of tossing up whether to get a repro one just to put on. I'm not going to fork out for the real deal.
My sister and I used to freeze Han Solo in a cup of water.
Oh yeah,
and then tip him out so he's in an ice block. But then you'd get sick of waiting for him to thaw, so you'd smash the ice, and that's how his head came off.
And here we go. Here's the old bounty hunters. This is how you get years and years of dudes to buy figures, as you just keep rolling out these guys, and especially old Boba Fett. And there's IG-88.
Iggy Pop.
Is it? Yeah, IG-11's the new one, who I think is far superior.
Nah, I'm an 88 man.
You're an 88 man?
I just love how, again, because I'm working on this, is all happening in an afternoon, they've managed to get 6 or 7 dudes that are just
just to rock area. Up. It wasn't really who was the best, it was really just who was the closest.
Yeah.
They just put up an air tasker, and it's just, radius of 3 kilometers, and all right, these guys will do. The bug guy and the lizard guy and the...
I think they've sort of become my favourite, those two, Forlom and Zuckus.
They're just sort of like the other guys, aren't they? They're not really they're not the main, the top drawer. They're just sort of the also-rans.
I think because I'm trying to collect the Empire Strikes Back Kenner ones that I didn't have. They're pretty cool figures, those two.
Mm.
They're actually good-looking figures. So, like Dengar, for instance, is awful.
Yeah, right.
He's an awful figure.
So. He's not the best-looking bloke either. I mean, there's all those... Yeah. That's sort of stipulated quite heavily that Dengar's in Rise of Skywalker, that he's he's that sort of freaky looking guy who in the bar, that he's just kind of, obsessed to Michael Jackson style, changing his appearance every few years, and then kind of takes it too far. I do like that as soon as he loses it, that Lord Vader asks for an update.
Yeah. I like all those dudes down in that pit too. There's some good lines down there.
They might have not even asked for an update. They're just like, let's just muck around with him. It's like, yeah, Lord Vader, you just lost him. Lord Vader wants an update. It's like, well, I guess I'll go over there. Vader had no idea. It was like, well, I better kill you because you're stuffed up. But I did not know. So is Yoda just on a string there, you reckon? Like, is he on a cable? I always sort of wondered how they did this. Like, obviously Hamill's not standing on one hand, so he must be on some cables somewhere. But yeah, or are they upside down? Is he sort of like shot upside down? How they flip the set? I'm not sure how they did that shot. Like, I'm sure it's just a harness or something. But or maybe Hamill learnt how to stand on one hand.
Well, he's done the knee out of his pants there, I notice.
Oh dear, he's got some proper sweat going on there. So if it is all happening in one day, Matt, he certainly is getting pretty grotty.
Yeah, well, he must have another change of clothes. So it's...
yeah, because he would have stunk, because he just gets up and he leaves.
And he's done the knee in those pants, and when he gets to Bespin, his pants are fine. He's got some serious back sweat, and when you got back sweat going on, you're really working hard. So it's just like, Darth Vader didn't sense his presence. He smelled
his presence, yeah. It might have bought him a few extra minutes against Vader just because he stunk so bad. Vader was slightly keeping his distance. I feel like that Dagobah swamp feels like you'd probably come out smelling worse than when you went in, though.
Yeah. Yeah, spending sort of a fair bit of time as a child doing yabbying and playing down by the creek, I can smell this scene. I really can.
I do feel like this is the right level of sort of... And I think the sequel trilogy did it quite well of sort of bringing down what's possible for a Jedi to kind of do. Like lifting an X-Wing is still a bit of an effort. Like I think... Jedi powers got a little bit out of control in the prequels, and they're just sort of doing all sorts of wackadoo stuff. Like, the idea of lifting a spaceship out of the water is still pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It does require some concentration. Like, Yoda, he's supposed to be, he's still, one of the most powerful dudes going around. He still has to really think about doing it. He can't just sort of lift it out, no worries.
Yeah, I think perhaps as time goes on, because the Force, you didn't seem to be able to do too much crazy stuff with it in the original trilogy. It's sort of become my least interesting part of it. I think. So
I think as long as it's sort of kept in check, I think that's why it's sort of, because you just can't have that thing of being all too powerful and just solving every problem. Like I know, like Last Jedi, they sort of, that's how you write Luke that way, because if he just gets up and wants to save the day, then it makes the rest of the characters redundant, because Luke just turns up and solves everything. So, in this case, like, Yoda's not leaving this planet anytime soon, but again, getting the ship out of the water, still an effort. But yeah, some very nice acting going on there from Yoda.
Yep, and Luke.
And Luke.
So, I would, in the prequel, did Luke's did Yoda's nails, are they better kept? Like
from a manicure kind of point of view.
Yeah, and his hair, I can't really remember.
I'd have to check.
It'd be nice if, like in the prequels, like he had nicely brushed hair and.
Oh, there's some terrible fan art of like a young Yoda where he's got like, like a full head of hair, where he's or a ponytail, or like, it's terrible. Like I did like that Baby Yoda just kind of had the same wispy little hair. It wasn't sort of like a. I mean, I know there's another Yoda, was it Yaddle or whatever in the prequels? I think they've got a full head of hair. So I'm not quite sure how that works.
It's not good. It's not good. She, her hair does not look very good in that.
No.
So she was quietly removed from the...
No more questions were asked, really. Yeah, he is looking a little bit sort of...
Where's Yaddle? Who's Yaddle?
Yeah. It might
Nobody here called Yaddle.
Just slowly removed from...
continuity.
And obviously we're not getting the music here, but the music is also a big star right here. Some lovely music going on.
I've got it very low in my headphones.
Oh, have you? Oh, I've actually completely taken it out. But however it works for everybody. But they would have had the old crane out at was it Elstree Studios or wherever they shot it, and wheeling this great big X-wing. I didn't go down.
So Luke's gone and got changed again here. No, he's put his shirt back on.
No, yeah, he's put the jacket back on. We'll have to just check how grubby it is when we get into the best bin.
I also, I'm still working on the basis that this is, in a day.
Yep.
But maybe he washes his clothes, dries them.
Changes in his cockpit.
Yeah. Yeah, fixes the hole. See, like Darth Vader, like as we've said, he's chosen his management style, which is a little bit severe, if you ask me.
Mm.
But do you have to be such a dick about it? Like, he's killed him, but the whole having a quip afterwards. Ugh.
Yeah, just kind of rub it in.
Yeah.
Everyone's just going, oh, that was our friend. You know, we went. We've had barbecues together, and we have drinks on a Friday.
I squash with him on Friday.
Yeah. He's supposed to be looking after my dog. Like, who's going to do that now?
Yeah. Darth Vader has to do it.
Yeah, Darth Vader's like, well, you got to live with it now. Yeah, I mean, Vader is still... I think this is probably the best he is in any of the films. He's sort of at the peak of his powers. It has the most to do. But he's sort of just all-out bad in this. You know, like he's kind of bad in Star Wars, but he's not in there heaps. He sort of just pops up.
Well, people do like to do the Revaderism, where they sort of want to see him in a sympathetic light all the time, and
he's loving being bad right now. Like, I don't think
you just got to go back to that where he has that little quip at a dead guy. It's just like, he's not a sympathetic figure.
I've never noticed that 3PO's got a little seatbelt on there.
Oh, he does too.
Yeah, that's just the things that you see when you watch the film in widescreen and in high definition that you never would have seen before. But
and actually when you're not doing anything else.
Yeah.
So, because normally if I put a Star Wars movie on, I've got to be doing something else. So it's probably why I know so little about it.
And then we get the first mention of Lando. So all the Lando rumors flying around at the moment as we record this, that they're going to do another Disney Plus show and bring Donald Glover, childish Gambino himself, back to play Lando. So I'll be happy to, if they want to make more Star Wars stuff in general, I'll be happy. But
yeah, that does actually sound sort of up my alley too. As long as there's not too many sunsets. But because I quite like Solo and the character in that, so it'd be good.
Well, it must be close if it's all happening in one day that they're flying away in the rest of the garbage.
I like that little kiss she gives him too.
Yeah. It's weird rubbish that they're... Like, what is this rubbish? It's all just like bits of... Like, it doesn't look like it's been crushed into cubes, or it's like banana skins, or... It's weird rubbish. I'm not quite sure. It looks like salvage or something.
Is that all like ships that they've... I don't know. No, that doesn't really work either.
I mean, I guess they've been dealing with asteroids. Maybe there's a whole bunch of broken stuff. Things have fallen off and they've had to sort of chuck it away. But they're just a bunch of litterers, the Empire.
You know, they made a Kenner play set of Dagobah, and it had like little things that you could lift the R2 with, and
oh, really?
Little levers, and you pressed them, and it raised up those containers and R2D2 and stuff.
Oh.
So
I never saw that one.
Yeah, had a little like foam swamp that you could submerge things in and stuff.
You couldn't put some tepid water in there yourself.
Yeah.
Heat some water in the get the hot water tap and leave it out in the sun for a few days and then pour it in.
Be good if they made it, that that He-Man figure that was mossy and smelled.
Oh yeah, Moss Man. Yeah.
Yeah. Was he actually called Moss Man?
I think so. I didn't have him. I had Stinkor though, and he actually did stink, or he had some kind of like smell on him. Don't know what happened to him. He's probably at the bottom of a sandpit somewhere. Yeah, this is a very convenient plot device, isn't it, really? I mean, it feels like maybe you've written yourself into a corner and it's like, how do we get Luca out of here? Yeah. And it's like, oh, you could just use the Force. That's the...
Yeah.
But it does work quite well.
It works well because you know something bad's going to happen to them, because nothing bad's happened to them yet. So, it doesn't work fast because we've seen the movie so many times. But if you're watching it now, you're like, oh, well, they're on their way to somewhere, but Luke knows something bad's going to happen.
And it's sort of not a device that they've ever really used in anything else as well. Like it sort of worked for this, but it's never really been used again in any other sort of Star Wars stuff. Like considering, like he can tell that, and they're like the worst thing that happened to the Jedi ever, and then Yoda didn't have the foresight to see that. But yeah, here we are in Cloud City.
Do you want to know what I used to use to make cloud cars?
I'd love to know.
2 shoes.
Did you put a little figure in each shoe?
Action figure in each one, yeah.
That's not too bad, actually. Again, completely impractical. What do you need 2 pilots for this? Seriously, what are 2 pilots doing here that one pilot can't do? Is it just a case of, is it like China where they have to invent all these jobs? Like I work for a financial organization, and we've done a lot of work with China and banking in China, and a lot of the times if you make a payment in China, before it can be processed, it has to be printed out and then delivered and signed and checked in person, and there's no sort of there's this human element into it, and it's a lot of it is just to they've got such a big population that you've got to have these jobs for people to do.
Yeah.
You think Cloud City, Lando took over Cloud City. He's like, employment for everybody, don't worry. Yeah. He's like, from now on, we're going to have 2 people flying in these spaceships. Like, he's a genius.
I do love I know it's not to everybody's taste, but the special edition changes in Cloud City, I'm a big fan of.
Sort of opening up the city a little bit.
Yeah, I like it. That said, it's it's my second favourite sort of part of the film.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and watch the unedited one. Like, for the most part, it's pretty seamless, really. I mean, there's a few sort of like glory shots in there, but a lot of the like sort of the background colours changing, I think, in windows and looking out into the city and things.
Yeah, the inside ones are probably the most noticeable ones, but there's a fair few shots added to that little approach sequence too, I think.
Now, it's sort of
screaming at the...
It's sort of implied in this film that they haven't spent a lot of time together, Han and Lando, for a long time. But I think we'll, as the world is and in the world of making content, I think we'll see that Lando and Han hang out all the time, hung out for years and done stuff all the time. Even though, obviously the Solo movie, which I just watched, absolutely mines any line of dialogue that these two have to, what have you done with my ship? You lost it to me fair and square, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it can work either way.
Which is weird, which it feels like this comes up all the time rather than... I do like that he calls him a loser to his face, though, and Chewie just goes, yeah, I'm still hanging around with this loser.
God, I wonder... Yeah, again, like, the only way I like this not all happening in one day is the fact that Han and Leia would just smell.
Yeah. I do like I just like the rapport between those two. I think it does work really.
Yeah,
it does work quite well. But he does seem unconcerned about his best friend robot being in the ship. Like, I know that's a total recon anyway, but
yeah, that was an odd choice.
Yeah. It's sort of like have your cake and eat it too kind of thing. Like, I think it kind of works in the film. I think it kind of works. It sort of doesn't work in the sort of the history of the Falcon and stuff. But yeah.
Didn't they? I couldn't even get through the first chapter of the Solo novelization. It was that boring. But
I haven't read it.
no, I think they added something about it there too.
That's sort of where they grease the wheels a little bit, isn't it? In those novelizations, yeah. I think the Rise of Skywalker one is notoriously like just frantically greasing the wheels to have the whole thing make sense and fit in. God, so is it stormtroopers that he's seeing here? Is that what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
They kind of like that's a little bit of an overreaction, though, isn't it? Like it's just a stupid droid. You could have just grabbed it and you didn't have to blast it and make a scene.
The whole thing's a little bit farcical, really. I mean, like, why when they landed, didn't they just all come out with their guns and go hands up?
Yeah. Why do we have to have it? We wanted to make sure that his friend was going to stuff him over. I mean, maybe there's I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, really, but.
I don't even care. It's you got to have a movie.
Well, there's Obi-Wan. He doesn't have his waders on or his fishing or his little fishing hat or anything. Or...
just a corked hat.
Alec Guinness looks like
one of those vests that's got all the fishing, those where they keep all their hooks and
stuff. Alec Guinness looks like he's been growing that beard for about 2 days before he started shooting. You know what I mean? Like I think he's just been clean shaven for age, and they're like, "Oh, you got to grow the beard out, Alec." Like it's sort of just there.
Just there.
He's got the toupee going though.
Oh, did he wear a little rug? Did he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think he was. I think it's notoriously sort of. He was a bald dude, especially over Star Wars and stuff. I think there's sort of somewhere you can look in the kind of moves in different shots in Star Wars, like the hairline kind of moves, sort of Nick Cage style.
Yeah, I didn't even knew that. Oh, they should have had a bald dude in there.
Yeah.
Just with a big comb over.
It's becoming pretty clear that Ewan McGregor is not aging fast enough to bounce into Alec Guinness, is he?
Nah. I saw Dr. Sleep the other day, and he's in that, and he looks very young.
Yeah, so, like I think the series that they're doing is going to be closer to where he left off than closer to where he's going. I think just because maybe in 20 years you can wheel out Ewan McGregor again and he'll be in his mid-60s or whatever, and he'll probably start bumping up against it.
Obi-Wan Season 2, Kenobi Season 2.
Yeah.
20 years later. Oh, I bet there's going to be some sunsets in that one.
Oh yeah, there'll be Sunset City on that one. There's some very good taking off effect here. I've always liked the way that what the light does, that it sort of changes so the dark and then the red from. I don't know where the red's coming from. The engines, I suppose. Like that just works really well. Like, oh yep, I know exactly what's going on there. And then
it is good.
You get the dramatic lighting there. That's some master filmmaking going on.
Yeah, it's still got that. I know I rabbit on about this quite a bit, but I do like 70s style filmmaking. So I see that little thing off on the side there.
Oh, yeah, the little gas thing. I think that's new.
Yeah.
This is obviously
new. I had a book
new.
that explained that.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But I've lost that book along with all my other Star Wars books, and I can't remember what the explanation was.
Now, I'm going to get a little bit blue here. And this is a theory that I've read online that... Leia is no longer a virgin at this point in the film. That she's been wearing.
Even know she was before.
Well, that she'd been wearing white, through all the films up until this point, and then all of a sudden they're having the night over in Cloud City, and then she's all of a sudden she's in a nice different colored dress. Although she does get back in her white outfit, like in the next scene where they're in the freezing chamber. So I don't know if that's true. I like to think that Leia...
virginity doesn't work like that, Josh.
No.
So you can't just go back.
Put it back in. You got the horses bolted, so to speak. I mean, I like to think that Leia's, seen the world and, she's,
So is that IG-88 there?
I think it's
or is that just another one?
I think it's the droid that they've just stuck there because they need to stick some things there, most likely. Whether it's the same, I mean, it looks like it. I mean, that's why there's 88 of them, isn't it? Because they always go like, "Oh, that's IG-63."
Okay.
He's just sitting there, and
I do love my little pig boys there.
Oh yeah. Now, did you have the C-3PO that broke apart?
I did, but that's one of the ones that's gone somewhere, and he's a bit of an annoying one to get back.
Right. So, he's not easy to get, is he? I mean,
nah, my collection somehow got cross-pollinated with somebody else's at some stage. Must have been a mate or something. You know, we have kids playing or something like that. So I've got figures I never had before and lost some that I did. But
how annoying.
Yeah. But, yeah. He came with a little bag that you could put on Chewie's back and stick all his bits
Yeah, it was
in.
like a black kind of sort of... Yeah, netting kind of, rubbery, netty, plasticky netting kind of. Yeah, I think I either had it or I had a friend who had it. I'm just trying to remember whether I specifically had it. I definitely played with it a bit. I did like the little lunch boxes the Ugnaughts have as well. Like I remember that was the accessory that they came with, was like the little... They
came with a little blue smock and a little lunchbox.
A little lunchbox.
And it's pretty awesome. There's another lunchbox. So...
Not a very good cafeteria. No real cafeterias here.
More lunchboxes.
Yeah, they've all got lunchboxes.
That's the other thing. Employment for all and lunchboxes for everybody.
But you got to bring your lunch. We're not paying for lunch. You got to bring it. You got a BYO lunch. You can have the box to put it in. And the weird thing is that everyone's kind of going about their day, and Lando just turns a corner, and then Darth Vader's hanging out in this room. Like that looks like the only way in or out, isn't it? Or is there another way in? Is Boba Fett sort of? He kind of comes in from the side, but that might not necessarily be another door. He might just be hiding behind a pillar. Oh dear.
Yeah. What's Lobot doing there?
He's like, don't worry, guys. I've got the door covered. Like, Lobot, get out of the way. There's like a dozen stormtroopers behind you. You don't need to stand there.
Do you know what would have been funnier if instead of Boba Fett coming around with his rifle, he'd come around with like a plate of hors d'oeuvres?
Yeah, but the cake is like, oh, I've just got these here. Like, oh, what's going on here? Oh, I thought we were eating. I thought we were at least going to eat first. Like, do you think...
Who wants mozzarella sticks?
Yeah, do you think they close the door there and they actually go, well, we might as well eat. Like, everything's here.
Yeah, you got to, don't you?
Yeah. Like, things aren't going to go well for you, but... Yeah, this is always a bit of a sort of a scary, thing for me as a kid as well. When they were kind of getting Chewbacca not happy. And he's very good in this movie, Peter Mayhew, as well. Like, I know he doesn't quite get the props that some of the other actors do, but there is some very good acting going on in this from him. From a guy in a suit.
Yeah. Yeah. He must have had a blast doing this.
Yeah,
like, wasn't he a hospital orderly or something?
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah, he was just I don't think it was sort of. I don't think being tall had really helped him much in his life up until then, apart from getting things off shelves and stuff. And then all of a sudden, you get the call. You're looking for somebody tall, and yeah, I remember as a kid going, how did they get, like, where's Anthony Daniels' arms and things? And I just, I completely didn't realise until later that it's, he's not actually still in the, he's not still in the suit. It's just somebody with moving a stick out of frame underneath.
So he says they're stormtroopers.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't feel like that this job should be done, getting him ready to be tortured should be done by those dudes with the ridiculous hats. They normally have that gig.
Well, why does Lando even have this here? Or do you think they brought it with them?
Yeah, it's a bit a kit they set up.
Yeah.
Like, if there's sort of employment for all lunchboxes for everybody person, I don't think you have a torture thing.
Unless it's some kind of like kink room. It's just Lando's kink room. And it's like, oh, this stuff will do. We were going to bring some stuff off the ship. It looks like you've kind of got everything for a little bit of...
We'll just hook this up to the mains power instead of this 9-volt battery.
Yeah, that's right. It's not just going to tickle your toes now. It's going to...
I can't believe he believes that. Like,
You kind of wonder what the conversation must have been when he turned up. He's just like, I just want Skywalker. I'm just going to use your friends, and then don't worry, they can all go about their business afterwards.
Yeah, when you think about it too hard, it's like, did they even really need to have they've got an enormous Star Destroyer? Like, don't you just say, you'll be doing what we say?
Yeah, or just wait for Luke to turn up and then just grab him as he arrives. But I mean, I know he had to sort of torture them to get him to show up, which is pretty sneaky. Which does also...
I'd never thought about that.
Which does also go on the assumption that Vader knows Luke can actually, use the Force well enough and train well enough to figure it out, because he couldn't do it before. So he was kind of going, well, I've got to hope that Luke finds someone to teach him well enough to know that if I torture his mates, he's going to know where they are.
And that he's logged into Force Skype at that actual moment.
Yeah,
So.
and then you can Google City in the Clouds to get a little bit more information about what this place is. He's like, I saw a city in the clouds. It's like, well, it's a big galaxy, Luke. You might want to get a little bit more information.
And if they're mining gas, there must be dozens of these places.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like Luke in an afternoon's been round to about
I was like, this will happen in one day.
them.
He's just dropping in, dropping out. He's like, this is the 6th place I've been to.
They're pretty sweet outfits that those guys have got on.
Yeah.
I bet they had much different ones before Lando came there, and he's like, "We're gonna
spruce this up." Yeah. 2 guys in every suit, and I've brought some tailors in for everybody to have some nifty little uniforms. He's like, "Dude, we're mining. Like, we're covered in shit for 90% of the time. We're wearing these little blue uniforms." He's like, "Hey, it's Lando's world now."
Even the like little pig Ugnaughts have got like little smocks, nice little smocks,
little outfits. It's all derivative of his outfit too. Like he's got the blue, he's kind of got the palette. Yep. He's like, everyone's got to look as schmick as Lando. It's a nice little touch. It's got sort of like pink or red little touches on the collars and on the cuffs and things.
Yeah. Everybody gets a job. Everybody gets a lunch box, and everyone looks sweet.
Yeah, everyone looks very smart. I don't know what happened. I'm going to have to check the books and things to see what happened to Cloud City afterwards. But one of the cool things, I touched on this when we had the Battle of Hoth, was the Battlefront game. And one of the levels in Battlefront is Cloud City. And you can go into the freezing chamber. And it's just quite good. You get a feel for the the dimensions of the room and, how it all works and walk around a sort of a 360 environment and stuff. And this is clearly a set that they're shooting from one side. But... yeah, it is quite cool. You kind of go, oh, yeah, it's in the middle like that. It's got a drop bit. It's kind of got these rails around the edges and things. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's an awesome design.
I like that it's like a major industrial process and the lighting is that bad.
Yeah. Someone's going to lose a hand because they can't read the instructions.
Yeah. And there's no rails for the pit in the middle.
Yeah, as a guy who works on work sites and has done all that kind of work, Matt, you'd be looking at that from an OH&S perspective. Just
going, look. I'm not having my guys in there.
No handrails again. Very, very cool though. Really just good use of lighting and set and steam and all those good things to really bring the dramatic effect. And
then they could reuse the set for the fight.
Yeah. So and kind of in a different way as well.
Yeah. Did you ever see the little micro series? I think they were called micro.
Well, that's little die-cast ones where you could sort of just play. Yeah, I had a friend who had them. There was a family that lived across the road from me when I was a kid, and I was friends with those kids. And the boy Nathan, I think he's Nathan. He had a bunch of stuff, and I'm pretty sure he had that. Shout out Nathan if you're listening. He had a bunch of Empire stuff. He was a couple of years older, so. And they had oh, sorry, mate.
Yeah, they sort of clicked in together. Like there was like 3 sort of sets. So there'd be a freezing chamber, and then that bit where Luke flies out the window, and and they all sort of interlocked. I thought they were cool. I didn't get any though. Another kiss. They've been kissing all through this.
They have. And there's the old I know.
Yeah.
Very, very baller move.
You should have gone back. I like you a lot.
Yeah, like, oh, thanks. Just, there's a running joke that we have at our house.
I love you, but I'm not in love with you.
There was a movie that we watched. I can't even remember what the movie is. And the guy says, I love you to the lady. And she just says, I admire your spirit back. And that's what she says back. And that's a running joke that we have at our house now. If somebody says it, and then you just get I admire your spirit back, basically. I always like that. It just made me laugh. That was quite good. But I'm sorry. This is a very serious and some fantastic music and emotion and set design.
Look, he's got a lunchbox again.
Yeah, they've all got their lunchboxes. They're like, well, we've got a break for lunch after this. Yeah. It's like, is this going to run over? Because it's all part of a day.
And it's like, no, overtime. You will go overtime.
Yeah, there's overtime. Don't worry.
Jobs for everyone and fair working conditions.
Yeah, it's Lando's way. You're living in Lando's world.
I like Leia cuddling up to Chewie like that.
Yeah, it's very... That would have been a very hot set as well, that one, I imagine, with the steam.
Yeah. The lights, yeah.
I never had the... Did you ever have the Han in carbonite?
No.
I always... I think...
That was one of the very last ones.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the pre-aforementioned Nation, that he had it. And I always thought it was weird because his hands didn't go up because they obviously couldn't... the figures didn't articulate like that. So he just sort of had them down. But yeah, I think that's a... I did actually... The Facebook group that you've ruined me by adding me to with the vintage figures one, there was somebody who was selling that Han in carbonite on card, and I think it was $1,100, I think it was.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't actually remember ever seeing, though, that last little range on the shelves. I don't think they came down to... rural South Australia.
Well, but my brother famously got the show bag that had a bunch of them in it. So we got the pop-up R2 and a couple of others. That was the urban legend, but it was actually true because my brother got it. So, yeah, poor old Han. And this was the Harrison Ford not willing to commit to another film.
Yeah,
but obviously works very well for the plot. Now here's Luke. Is he... How clean is he looking? Has he changed... I always thought it was...
that's a good close-up on that.
Yeah, it was always weird. I always, because you always see it in the chamber and assume it's sort of orangey, but it's... Boba Fett sort of looks a bit clueless there, doesn't he? He's just kind of ambling along, not really... That's still quite a good effect. I'm not quite sure how they've done that back in 1980. That sort of floating, whether it's just a trolley with a mirror on it or something. So yeah, look at that lightsaber bouncing around. It's grubby. Yeah. He's looking grubby. That's the HD, at least where I'm looking on my one. R2's looking grubby as well. No, he's definitely grubbing it up. So that isn't that.
I want to see him missing the knee out of his.
For some reason, R2 gets very close and personal there. I don't know why.
Yeah, he's probably trying to move the lightsaber so it doesn't hit him in the balls.
Yeah,
mate, just put it around here. There's a clip around here.
Yeah, just stick it to the side. Look at it! See, look at it wobbling around. It's so close. I mean, it'd have to be on a really short sort of latch, I'd say. It's a very impractical lightsaber, that one. I've got the. I think I've said this before, but I've got the 3D one where you can put the headset on. You can do the thing because they couldn't give them away at the end. They made way too many of them, and I got it for like $60-$70 or something instead of $300-$400.
Okay.
And the lightsaber itself is really good. Like, it's just as a replica kind of thing. But you kind of get an idea of what it's like to hold one. But that lightsaber is very it's kind of got weird bits that jut out on both sides. It's not very comfortable to hold in your hand comfortably. Like the later ones are all just a clear. Sphere, a lot easier to hold, but anyway.
None of them look overly practical to hold, I don't think.
No, I think the later ones, they kind of get... I think even the prequel ones, they kind of realised that and had the buttons kind of at the top away, but the Skywalker, lightsaber has got bits jutting out all over the shop. Here we go.
I like how this is all like sort of a game of mousetrap. Sort of goes.
Yeah, the ball's going to roll down, and then the diving man is going to fall into the. Yeah, I mean that's the shot, isn't it? That is the shot right there.
Yeah, I like that's like why they just didn't arrest him to start with, because Darth Vader, terrible management style, but he has a flair for the dramatic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it sort of became something that never really occurred to me, until I was a lot older watching this, is just how little effort Vader is actually putting in. That he's really just messing with him. He's not really trying. And that Luke is absolutely trying his hardest there. And Vader's kind of just sort of brushing him off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty boss move when he starts throwing things at him later. That's some good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there aren't too many dud lightsaber battles in any of the films, to be honest. I think they all bring something one way or the other, but this one is particularly good just of the even though it is one-sided, I think that's what sort of makes it more interesting. Yeah. It's definitely the most one-sided out of all of them.
I'm trying to think of one I don't really fancy. Can't.
I mean, the Revenge of the Sith one goes on too long, but it does have some cool bits in it.
One.
But it does have some good bits, but it does go on too long, and then it's.
I feel like it's half the film.
Yeah. I do like
Yeah.
choking out Lando is quite good. And it's quite funny because Chewie's known Lando as long as Han, as we're led to believe in these films, but he was quite happy to turn on him at a moment's notice.
Yeah, but in all their adventures, I don't think Han got frozen in a block of metal.
No, it was more just like a wacky, I'll just leave you hanging, or leave you with the bill after lunch kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So probably a little bit more serious. Now, they changed this guy's voice, didn't they?
Yeah, so that is Tamara Morrison doing the voice now. So he does have a New Zealand accent now, Boba Fett, to sort of match the actor, which I guess, all right, fair enough.
It's all a bit ridiculous, though, because New Zealanders are lovely people. They'd never be doing all this.
Well, I know, that's what I thought. All the New Zealanders I know are wonderful people, so they wouldn't be engaging in this. But
it's like getting a Canadian to be a bounty hunter. It's ridiculous.
But, all right, they did it. It's sort of, I'm just used to it. But I do prefer the other voice. If I hear the other one, I go, oh, that one's much better. I think the line readings are a little bit better as well. And then he's off. Just like that. We don't see Han again until Return of the Jedi.
Geez, I tell you what, like I tend to chew out the Mandalorian for sunsets, but this one's had a few.
Well, it is up in
the
clouds too, yeah. You wouldn't want to move there, Matt. You wouldn't be able to stand it. You're just like, everywhere I look, there's a bloody sunset.
Hey, no, I like real sunsets.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. When I rearranged this room, like when we used to podcast, used to look out over the sunset, but it's different now. So
yeah, there's a very weird little leap that Vader does do down there. I'm not quite sure. I mean, I think he's like, oh, here's the chance. I got to get him to drop down the hole.
Jumping's a good trick. I'll try that.
Yeah. He does seem to be very unaware of what's going on there, Luke, though.
Yeah, but as well established.
I do wish that it's a shame that they didn't actually freeze him. It didn't work because he's sort of lying on the ground. It'd been funny if it came up and he's just sort of at the bottom of the block, kind of like.
Just 1 foot.
Yeah, but his foot didn't quite make it, and that's like still jiggling outside the.
And he kicks Darth Vader with it. He's like, oh!
This is probably his best moment, really.
Yeah.
But he is really getting his butt kicked.
Yeah. Oh, doesn't he boot Vader off the side here? And then that's where he loses him?
Yeah, I think he does. I think he sort of gives him a little boot to the... Does he give him a boot to the chest?
Little shoulder.
Yeah, there. No, I think he just... Return of the Jedi, he gives him the boot to the chest, and he kind of does that weird sort of kung fu spinning thing down the stairs, but... Well, it's just a bit weird because Vader's plan was to freeze him, and then he kind of blew his shot on that, and now he's just gone, all right, well, now I'm just going to have to tell him the truth. That's all I've got left.
I just like how, he falls off the side, and straight away Luke just put his lightsaber back on his clip that we've well established. It's not a good place.
Yeah. Is he still...
I see, more mousetrap stuff.
Is he still looking for Han and Chewie now? And Leia? What's he doing? Shouldn't he be trying to get out of there? Surely he knows it's a trap now. And he literally was told it was a trap. I don't know about you. If I went into somewhere and someone told me it was a trap, I'd probably turn around and leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the sort of the boss move, though.
Oh, I love it. And that was that little micro series set, had a breaking window that thing you can see in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Which is very elaborate window for a plant room.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what this room is supposed to be, but I think in Battlefront 2 you can run through this bit as well. So it is worth just that to sort of check out the area, really, if you're not too busy getting shot by 10-year-olds when you play online.
Yeah, he's not doing a great job here, Luke, is he?
No, he's really out of his depth. He's he hasn't really thought this through. I don't know what he really thought to expect. I guess he just got a little bit caught up in the moment. He got a few new powers. Decided he could take care of business.
Yeah.
Even though he got lucky on one thing, got promoted above his station, and promoted above his ability, and then everyone keeps telling him that he's great. So can't really blame him.
Working on my timeline, like when he was at Dagobah, he was having lunch with Yoda.
Right.
So he's basically, and we're in the late afternoon, so he's basically had about 2 hours training.
Yep.
Like, it's not really enough.
And he hasn't had an afternoon snack, so he's going on an empty stomach. I did like that little moment of R2 getting electrocuted.
Yeah, but that's like, I just got to put my electrician hat on. That is clearly why you were, we have different sort of
plugs for things.
Yeah.
But even when he takes the little thing out, it's clearly the wrong one. Like, I don't know why R2 was listening to 3PO on that one. I mean, that's that's like the right thing on the right.
Yeah. But you just have to have an extra level of safety that you can't put your, Cat 6 thing into the.
There's the some good the electrician talk there.
It'd be maybe one dude, maybe none.
I do like that. And obviously the music kicks in here, and it's very, very good.
Yeah.
I do like that Lando has to grab Leia. She just wants to keep shooting some things.
Yeah. Bit of a hero move from Artie there.
Yeah, coming out of the steam. There's a lot of steam in this film as well.
It is, yeah. It's a lovely matte painting.
Yeah, that one holds up very well, actually.
On the whole, throughout all the movies, the matte paintings are outstanding.
You really do appreciate how filthy the Falcon is when you watch this film in HD as well. Like, it's one of those things.
It's good, isn't it? It's great.
How grimy they actually made it.
He should say it's such a drag there.
You're lucky they didn't just dub that in.
Yeah, and Luke should have said it. Should have just come to when the Wampa was dragging him to.
This is such a drag.
Maybe
you could do a fan edit where you redub all these moments with this is such a drag.
It's poetry.
It's poetry, right? Yeah. Again, Luke is he's just looking for trouble here. Like
I know.
He's absolutely has not got the message. You'd think he'd be. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, this is good. Yeah,
you can get a point here where Vader has actually stepped it up here. I think he's kind of like, all right, I've mucked around with this kid. I don't want to kill him, but I really want to.
Hurt him.
I really want to hurt him. Like he's become somewhat of a nuisance here.
Yeah.
And I think
the freezing thing, which I went to all the trouble of having a dress rehearsal for, did not work.
One and done as well. I could have maybe kept a couple of staff on hand, at least reset it, and I could have sent him back there.
Yeah.
But
he's annoyed at himself more than anything. His flair for the dramatics has got him into this.
Oh, and he cops one as well.
Oh.
Again, it's one of those sort of, and there it goes. So we've got the felt books, the Star Wars ones, the really little kid ones, the single page, which my girls love. Sloane loves them. Olive loved them when she was little, and they tell the story in one page. It's like snow, teacher, friend, kiss, and then for this bit they actually have father, and then the next page is no. And Olive, my 5-year-old, she doesn't buy it. She is not, and I kind of, when we sort of describe it, we go, Darth Vader says that, talks about Luke's father. Like, I try not to sort of, I'd like the shock to kind of be there still. She doesn't believe that it's true. She's not buying it.
Oh, okay.
So
poor thing. She's
in for So when she's a little bit bigger and she can watch the movies, we'll definitely go on the original. We'll go originals first and.
Good no here.
Oh yeah, some very good ugly face acting from Hamill. He even kind of makes his teeth protrude as well somehow. Well.
Getting ready for a good ugly cry.
He really has copped it here. The HD really, you can see he's really got been given it a work over.
It's been a very, very average day for him when you consider.
Yeah, a lot's happened in a day. First thing is he's just cruising.
He's got belted by a snow creature.
Yeah.
He's got, he had to jump in a stinking swamp and got wet socks and jocks.
Yeah.
And now he's had his hand cut off.
There he goes. It's an interesting move, isn't it, really? Like, it's sort of...
I love it. Darth Vader just flops his
Yeah,
head
he's like,
down,
well, I certainly wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. This really has unraveled.
Yeah. Who knew that you get sucked down into some sort of, like, hole thing? Like, I don't think Luke knew that. I'm not quite sure what his game was there, but... And then managed to land on the one bit of floor that opens up underneath you. And then goes out the door.
It's just one long game of mousetrap.
It is, isn't it? It's just well, there goes the hand. Now I'm very glad that they didn't put in the. Supposedly there was the opening of the Force Awakens was going to have Luke's hand floating through space, holding the lightsaber.
You know, I'd never get up and walk out of a movie, but that would have tested me.
That was been the first, like, new Star Wars movie, first one in 10 years, and that's the first thing. You're just like, oh, is this what we're doing? Is it? There is the comic that they're running at the moment is after Empire Strikes Back, and talking about testing patience. Luke,
so you got a giant probe droid?
Luke goes back to Bespin to look for his lightsaber, and it's implied that it's flown into some sort of where all the rubbish ends up in Bespin. That actually the hand goes one way and the lightsaber goes another. So they're obviously setting up to what happens to that, that Skywalker lightsaber, why Maz Kanata has it, but I don't think there's really going to be anything that's going to satisfy me, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to think that an Ugnaught pretends he's a Jedi for a couple of years.
Has it in his lunchbox for a while.
Yeah. Check this out, guys.
Yeah. There's an OH.
Slicing up his
episode.
Slicing up his orange with it.
I just like it's the Ugnaught from The Mandalorian. He gets discharged because he's accidentally decapitated a bunch of people in the break room, just swinging his lightsaber around.
Good U-turn, this one.
Oh, very good. Very lovely going behind the clouds then. Now, I think this is actually a little bit of new footage here.
Yep.
So I'm not... And this is...
Wouldn't he call his Star Destroyer by whatever it's called? Like,
I think it's got like a name
alert,
like the...
Alert the pummelator.
Yeah, it's like the Incinerator or the... it's got some kind of tough guy name. It's, it's...
The Nefarious.
Yeah. It's a bit sort of like Savage Press, it's the worst. It's just like the Mr. Bad Guy ship.
General Grievous.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, that's all new.
There
was no shuttle until the...
Yeah. I mean, Luke has had a bad day, but this is some pretty good luck here that...
Yeah. That's like when he sees Lando. Who are you?
Yeah, like, what?
Who are you?
Did
we just become best friends?
Yeah. What are you done with Han's ship? He's like, it's my ship. I don't know if you know this, but I lost it to him fair and square. He does sort of look for a second like, all right, well, I don't know who that is, but...
He's like, my friend had a ship just like this.
He said he won it off some idiot. You totally cheated, but don't tell him. Yeah, Luke looks in particularly bad shape now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a long, long day.
It's a long day.
So is that Leia's outfit? Is that her Hoth outfit, but without the vest?
I think so.
So it was a jumpsuit all along.
Yeah, I guess so. So it's a bit weird that she was in that nice dress, and then for the freezing, they're like, "Yeah, you better get back in your street clothes." I guess it's industrial. She's like, "That dress is quite nice. I don't want to get like steam and carbon freeze all over it."
Well, it might have been a safety thing, mate, because you can't have people with long flowing things in a where there's rotating machinery.
That's very true.
So.
Very true. I do like the little callbacks here. The Lando when the hyperdrive doesn't work again. It's a very good little running plot thread in this. Yeah,
I like that. What does R2 even do? Does he just like turn it back on?
Yeah, he just flicks. It's pretty much the worst sabotage ever, isn't it? They just flicked it from off to on, and hoped that they wouldn't notice.
The kids have got a Millennium Falcon, and there's actually a little switch to switch that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because if you press a certain button, it makes the
noise.
And then if you switch the switch, it makes the other noise.
Oh, there you go.
So, you know.
R2, there you go. It's all canon then, isn't it?
Yeah.
I do like this. I do like, R2 saving the day, putting it on, and then Vader looking. I know he's got a mask on, but he's mad as hell. We're not quite there yet, but.
But we'll see when we get there. I think did Chewie just have to take his man bag off to get in that thing? I think
I didn't check actually. Maybe.
Or just rearrange it, maybe. Because that thing probably slaps him in the wrong spots a few times too.
Just like the lightsaber.
Yeah. I don't specifically know where Wookiee bits are, but I'm assuming they're in the similar spot.
I'm not sure why they fly closer to it rather than further away, but sometimes I think apparently is if you want to go to a certain place in light speed, you've got to be in a certain position to do it. So you shoot off in the right direction. So we'll leave it to that. Very lucky that Han's ship just happens to have something you can stick on the end of your arm when you've got your hand cut off. Like Luke's got this sort of, let's see, this happened to have just the thing there for missing limbs.
For limb decapitation. I like how it must take like a full 15 minutes to get a tractor beam ready.
Yes. Again, it's like all this technology and we just, it's just a little thing sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah. The guy who operates the tractor beams on a break.
Yeah.
With his lunchbox.
It's like, these lunchboxes aren't as good as the ones they have on Cloud City.
Yeah.
These uniforms certainly aren't. We're all just dealing, in dark olive or drab grey. Yeah. And they're flown around in this beautiful blue ensemble. Yeah, so he just sort of flicks the switch, really.
Well, yeah, it's like a dial.
Yeah,
it tends to dial up from 0 to hyperdrive.
That's the shot, isn't it? That's when your goose is cooked.
Yeah,
that Imperial officer. And Vader's kind of just like, all right, well, someone's gonna die. Like he just looks back again, like, no, I definitely did see them fly off. Then it's sort of trick of the light there. Like, oh, time to go, dude.
I like it's like I'm so mad I just can't even be bothered joking.
I can't even get. I'm so mad. There's no point even yelling.
Like that guy just sitting there on his tablet, just pretending to do something. So
it's nasty stuff. Very busy. And there we are. We're just in the home stretch now. So they've caught up with the fleet. So they've all gone, oh, well, Leia's back. Oh, great. Well, Han's not here, so I guess we don't have to listen to their bickering. So
Luke's here. We'll just put him out on patrol in a sec.
Yeah. Back on patrol, Luke.
He can just be one of those X-Wings just flying around doing very little.
And there's Lando in Han's clothes. As we always...
He's not. I never got that. It doesn't actually look like it.
It's a shirt and vest combo. Like that's Han's outfit right there. White shirt, black vest.
His shirt's not like that. It's like a pink.
No, it's like a little tan. Like he does have a bit more of a tan shirt in Jedi. So, I think it's kind of funny.
Well, if he borrowed his clothes, so be it, because he didn't really have a chance to pack anything before they left.
No.
So,
and it's the ultimate insult, isn't it, to Lando just to have to wear something drab? Like I know he's trying to get them to win him over. He's trying to win them over. They're probably still a bit wary of him. So, but Han's just like, well, at least I made Lando get out of his fancy duds.
Yeah.
He's like, the rest of you might be happy to walk around your own stink for days, but I'm Lando Calrissian. I'll wear someone else's clothes if it means I don't have to wear my stinky outfit I've been running around in.
So that's a very unattractive smock that Luke's wearing now.
Yeah. Well, at least it's not one of those sort of backless ones and his bum's like hanging out the back of it or something. That would be a great final shot. He just gets up and there's a lot of tan in this film, isn't there?
Leia's back in white.
She doesn't want Luke to know.
Oh, burn.
She's like, that's how little you know about girls, Luke.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think Luke would understand either.
No. And there we go. We're closing out here, just pulling away the old medical frigate, and there it is.
There's the Kirsch.
Directed by Kirsch. Gary Kurt's no longer with us as well. So the first two names off the bat.
Lee Brackett's
no longer with us. Larry Kazan. George is still around. I don't know if we'll ever hear from Larry Kazan again after the Solo debacle, but I'd like to see him involved in Star Wars again. You forget that he co-wrote Force Awakens, and I think he got burnt by Solo, I think, after they tried to change the movie on him. Hopefully we'll see him again.
Yeah, it's a pity. I reckon Solo's a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I think it's all right.
I quite like it.
I think we'll see more of it one day. So there it is. Thanks for everybody who stuck with us.
Apologies.
Certainly, quite happy to sit and watch Empire Strikes Back any day. And look, such a great movie, even with no sound and the subtitles on. We certainly got a lot out of it.
Yeah. I am stunned how many lunchboxes there were, really.
Well, I'm just thinking about it's lunchtime. I'm thinking, I wonder what's in my lunchbox.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
But maybe we should just treat this like we do with Peppa Pig Pod, mate. And any closing thoughts on Empire Strikes Back before we send it home?
It's easily my favourite by quite a distance. So that's... Oh, Snow Creature, Des Webb.
Good old Des.
Didn't even get called Wampa.
Voice of Emperor Clive Revel. This must be the old... That's weird. That must be the old credits because it's Ian McDiarmid doing it. Or maybe they put the old ones in and then they do the special edition stuff at the end. They kind of we legally can't take this stuff out because there's all sorts of actors
there's
guild.
John Ratzenberger.
Yeah, there he is. All right. Well, thank you everybody for sticking with it. And if you like what you hear, we'll do another one. We'll figure out what we'll do next. Matt did mention he was watching the Clone Wars movie the other day. Maybe we'll do the commentary on that just to keep the quality up.
Yeah, I did also mention to you that I didn't make it through it. Yeah.
Well, make you sit through it and watch it. But all right, awesome. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Josh, and good night, my little rebels.
Awesome.